First question. Okay, question number 1. Those who answer correctly, I got prize to give. Okay, I know not many presentations start with the question. Yeah, have you all seen the last presentation by John on the CRM? Yeah. Okay. Good. Because the question is going to be related to that. It's going to be a very simple question. Okay, probably it's going to be the only non-technical question. Okay. Which is the customer that he presented, car manufacturer, in a video? Okay, sir. Answer? Nissan. Correct. Thank you very much. Okay. Woo. Okay, what price do you want? Quite a lot. I don't think I will pass you the t-shirt because the t-shirt is only XS and S. Okay, so I think this is more better for the female audience. Do you want to, what's it, the bag? USB? Port, okay, all right, very good. Thank you very much. Welcome. Okay, so my session for today is called BI at your fingertips. Okay, now, before I'm actually going to run through in detail what this BI at your fingertips is, okay, I want to share a little bit, okay, just a little bit, how it actually gets to your fingertips in the first place, right? I mean, everyone knows that you guys do reporting and things like that, but I want to share a little bit how it gets there. Okay. Number 1, you all have your sources, right? Okay. What's your sources? For example, Microsoft Dynamics, of course, your CRM. Okay. Other line of business applications, you of course have like SS databases, CSV files, Excel files even, all right, will be your sources. And then what? Now I'm talking about the back end here, right? Okay. Some of you may be technical, some of you may be from the business. But then at the back end, what do they do? They integrate, correct? Okay. Now, why do they need to integrate? Very simple, because they need to pull all these sources, right, from different line of business applications, could even be from a CSV file. They integrate it, okay, in order to put it in a centralized location, right? Okay. And if you realize my slide is very red, it was on purpose because I got a bit of a Chinese New Year mood already. Okay, coming soon, right? So I put it very red. Okay, after integration, okay, let's put this at the side. Next, data quality. Okay? Now, in my opinion, when we talk about BI, right, this is a very, very, very important portion. Okay, why? Because once you integrate your data, you're going to find there's a lot of what we call dirty data. Right, dirty data. For example, I just met with a customer yesterday, right, with my colleague. And he was telling me that he has data quality issues. I said, oh, for example, like what? People don't seem to be spelling Kuala Lumpur in the same way. Okay? One system spells Kuala Lumpur probably at KL. One system spells Kuala Lumpur as maybe Kuala Lumpur, right? So these are a simple example of data quality issues, okay? Before even the business have their reports at their, what we call their fingertips. Okay? So data quality, very important. Let's put that aside. Now, how do we achieve this? Which Microsoft product do you think? Okay, this is not a Q&A to get the prize. Just saying up. Okay, which product do you think? SQL Server, of course, right? Now, some of you all may know SQL Server is actually a database. Right? Now, it's not only a database, it's also an integration tool built in. It also has a data quality tool as well. Okay? Some may know this, some may not. Right? Now, SQL Server can act as your data warehouse, okay, which stores terabytes of data easily. It can also, of course, we understand not all organizations, right, will probably say, oh, no, SQL Server is my data warehouse because I probably have another system with my data warehouse. Okay? It can also act as a data mart, for example. Okay, it can act as many things, even a transactional OLTP database, okay, as usual. Now, there are more to SQL Server, of course, than just data quality integration as a database. Okay, there's all the performance capabilities and things like that. But Again, I think this is not the session to talk about that. Hopefully we'll have another session to deep dive a little bit more into SQL Server, okay? Lots of very interesting features and products in SQL 2014. All right, now, in this scenario, we have external sources. We integrate, we do data quality check, okay? All the data is in the database. What's next, okay? This is very high level, huh? You have people like this, like them. We call them data stewards, okay? They may look like this, okay? So, some call them business users, okay? BI practitioners, all kinds of names, right? But basically, they are the people who sit most of the time in between the IT and the business folks, right? So they are like I usually call them the data stewards. They could be people from marketing, a lot of them from marketing, power users of Excel, people from finance, of course, sales operations, very popular as well, okay? And now the reason I put these three person pictures on top, okay? Not just to give the impression that it's really people who needs to do all this work. It's also because these are my colleagues, okay? Now I put them up is because if after this whole forum, you find that, hey, you know what? Microsoft BI is the BI I want to go, okay? Do seek these people out, okay? They are somewhere sitting on the left of me, okay? And tell them that, hey, I want to have a session, more session. I want to straight away buy BI, Microsoft BI, do seek them out, okay? But crabs and lobsters are not included, okay? All right. And then, of course, your report users or your data stewards, or whatever, power users, will come up with an Excel spreadsheet like this, right? Something like this, okay? I'm sure it can be more complicated and more simple, but you pretty much have a pivot table. You have, you know, your column charts and everything, right? Your rows and tables and charts. And then, once you have that, basically, this is where the people start doing their, what we call, self-service BI. Okay, this is really self-service BI. So, for today, I'm going to touch mainly on this portion, okay? What is new? You may probably can figure out what's new already, right? But let me show you a little bit more, okay? Now, what do people actually do in self-service? Okay, number one, as a self-service BI practitioner, let me use that term, self-service BI practitioner, okay, you need to be able to access to various sources, right? That's number one, okay? No doubt, previous slide, I already say that, oh, you know, you have to integrate with all your sources and everything, but in reality, of course, once your IT put everything in a centralized location, business will always need to have the capability to extract not only from your centralized data, but also from your external data, right? Okay? Now, access is very important. Number two, you need to clean as well, again, okay? You can see how important this is, right? Even though IT probably has done a lot of integration work, a lot of data quality work at the back end, okay? By the end of the day, I can tell you, in reality, it's usually still not clean enough, okay? So you need to have a tool that in order for you to do that, okay? It could be simple, right? It could be things like, my columns needs to be in uppercase, right? You need to do something like that, okay, for that particular report, okay? This is clean. Next, you must be able to mash up, okay? Now this term, this Microsoft term, mash up, basically means like integrate your columns, integrate everything together, okay? Whenever you search for new data, you want to connect to it, all right? So you kind of need to mash up your data, okay? Next, you also need to have the capability to explore new data, okay? Now this is very exciting, okay? Why? Because these days, people just don't get data from their, I would say, corporate data from your organization, okay? Many times, you actually get data from the internet, for example, okay? So you really must have the capability, okay, within the tool to really search for new data, you know, either in your corporation or even from the internet, all right? Next, visualization. Okay. So I'm very sure everyone in the room agrees with me. The very, very important piece is the access, right? Cleaning the data, combining the data, that's very, very important, right? Now, I would also like to say that equally important is the visualization piece, okay? Now, why? Because, how do I put it? It brings out the emotion of data. Okay? When people look at it, they're like, oh, I want to look at it because it's colorful, right? Humans are like that, okay? But I still remember, let me tell you a story. I was at this conference, it's called TDWI, okay? So it's for Terra, it's like TDWI is like Data Warehouse Institute, something like this, okay? So I was over there, and then there's this visualization expert. He comes to me and said, you know what? One very important thing about visualization is not to overdo it, okay? And that person really dislikes 3D charts for some reason, okay? Right? For some reason, okay? But I think I get where it's coming from, right? If you want to do visualizations, one thing that the concerned about is make sure that you don't overdo it, okay? Make it simple, have your proper charts and things like that, okay? Now, the next thing is share, all right? So once you have all your reports, okay, your Excel reports, you're going to want to, of course, distribute it, share it. Now, sharing is not just about, no, hey, you know what, this is my report, email to you. No, not necessary, right? You want to make sure that you actually put it in maybe in a secure portal, which of course we always suggest, or it can even be in a folder, all right? And security must be there to make sure that only the necessary reports, okay, is only obtained by the necessary people, okay? All right, so this is what we call self-service. Some of these key features that needs to be available in all tools, okay, for self-service tools. All right, now, what is new? Now, what does Microsoft brings to the picture? Okay, now some of you may know this, some of you may not, but in general, okay, it makes sense for Excel to be really the key self-service BI tool out there. Really is because there's about 1 billion Office users, okay? And I do know Excel is the most loved self-service BI reporting tool out there. Am I right or not? Yes, oh, thank you. Thank you, I love this audience. Love this audience, okay? Even if you say no, I will challenge you, okay? Because whenever I see a competitor product, okay, one of the most requested function is what? Can I export to Excel? Right. I mean there is a place for our competitor, of course, but the reality is that you can see that Excel is not going away anytime soon, okay? And it's very good that Microsoft acknowledged that, and it's also good that at least you have an alternative, right? If you want to you continue doing your reporting in Excel, it puts in a little bit more features in it, okay? In order for you to easily do reporting, self-service reporting, okay? Now, what is those features? Discover, okay? We call it discover, discovering your data. Last time when people need to get data from the internet, for example, what do? You open your browser, right? Okay, so basically you need to close your Excel, right? You open your browser, okay? And then you need to usually go to bing.com, right? Okay, you go to bing.com, you search for the data that you want, okay? And then what you do, you copy and paste it into your spreadsheet, okay? But what happened next? Usually you need to do what I term it, clean the data. You need to remove some columns, you need to remove some things, right? I mean, that's the typical way. Now, the thing is that when you do this, you're actually coming out from your Excel environment, your reporting environment, right? So with this new discovery tool, which I will show it to you later, okay, you can actually, it's pretty cool really, you can actually just search what you want, and the good thing is that you actually organize the columns for you accordingly, okay? So it's quite a very powerful feature, right? So I will show it to you more later. Now, besides discovering the data, this is my favorite piece of Excel actually, the new Excel 2013, okay? It's the analyze part, okay? This is the most important part in my opinion, okay? Why? Number one, because you can actually join your tables. I will call it tables now, okay? People used to join their sheets, right? And how do you join your sheets? VLOOKUP, right? Popular formula, okay? You still can use VLOOKUP, of course, you still can, right? But I would suggest now, if you have the new Excel 2013, do take a look at this feature, okay? Microsoft calls it Power Pivot, Okay, by the end of the day, it's really just Excel. Okay, it's just a button that you need to press, right? And you will have this diagram view. Okay, so your power users are no longer just about working on spreadsheets, but it's really about modeling. Okay, it's a slight paradigm change to say, wow, now I'm a modeler. Okay, now it's not only there's this diagram view, right, built into Excel. Okay, the other important part of it is it now supports question mark, question mark, question mark of rows. Okay, why do I put question mark there? Because that will be my next question to the audience. Okay, let's see who can get this. May not be easy, okay, because I got it wrong before. So. Okay, how many rows of data does Excel 2003 support? Anyone? 64,000? Anyone else? 1 million, okay. Huh? 64. 4,000. 64,000. Okay. 34 or 64? 60. 64, okay, okay. So, got 2 persons say 64. I saw someone over there. Any other answers? 65. Okay. You all search for it or not just now? I saw you playing your phone. Okay, now because everyone is getting correct already, okay, I'll choose the closest, okay? But to be honest, I don't know the exact number, but closest is 65,000 something. Okay, I probably should do my research to get the exact number. It's 65,000 something, okay? So very close. Thank you very much, all right? So I guess you get a prize. Okay, what you want? Except t-shirt, of course. No, you can choose t-shirt. You can choose t-shirt. Okay, which one do you want? Everything, okay. I have to leave some for... Okay, how about this? Thank you very much. Okay, so Excel 2003 can support about 65,000 plus plus, okay? You can Wikipedia it to get the exact answer. And then it's Excel 2007 to 2010, it can support 1 million rows of data. Of course, plus plus, something like that, right? Now, the new Excel 2013 can virtually support unlimited rows of data. Wow. Unbelievable, right? Unlimited rows of data. But theoretically, okay, because it depends on the power of your laptop, okay? Because why it can support that is because right now, within Excel, look at it, it has its own OLAP engine in it. Sorry, for those it's a bit technical term, it's an OLAP engine. So it's like a built-in engine, it's a new engine in Excel, okay? And that's why you have all these diagram views and things like that, right? So it supports, it's called an in-memory engine in Excel. So it supports millions of rows of data, okay? Some real case scenario, my laptop, not the Surface, okay? I have another workstation laptop, okay, which I use to do a lot of demos. It's running on 16 GB of RAM, okay? Reasonably higher. I loaded in 120 million rows of data, okay? And it just works, right? So just some case study for you. My personal case study, because a lot of customers keep asking me, sure or not, can load or not? So I want to prove to them. I loaded 120 million rows at least, okay, just to show you that it supports that, okay? Now, this is the analyze, 26 minutes, okay, I want to show more demo. Okay, visualization, okay, I'm not going to deep dive into that. I'm going to show you a little bit more visualization in this portion. Sharing, okay. So this is the Power BI side, okay. Some of it looks familiar, okay, but I'm going to show you the new one, okay. Just that I haven't changed the picture yet, okay. So, but basically, the story for this slide is that, look at it as like a SharePoint online. Actually, it is a SharePoint online, okay. But in a sense whereby there's a proper template just built in for you to do BI reporting, okay. So as you all know, if you all heard of SharePoint before, usually SharePoint on-premise, of course you need to, it's a very good product, but it's really more than just a BI tool, right? It's a workflow engine, okay? But a lot of people actually use it to store reports, okay? And then there's some implementation involved and things like that, okay? Now the value add of Power BI, besides showing you fancy, nice graphic reports and all those things, is that you can really deploy very fast because it's really part of Office 365, okay? And you instantly will have a site just like that. Okay, you can put your feature reports, which are your favorite reports. You can set security, definitely, right, on it. You can also schedule your refresh, okay, of your reports, okay, as expected, right? I mean, you don't need to go and every morning click refresh button on your Excel and say, hey, wait for it to refresh and things like that, okay? You can actually schedule refresh daily, weekly, for example, and then just say that I want it to be ready by 6 a.m. so that when 8 a.m. it comes in, the report is refreshed, okay? So it's available. You can actually schedule for your on-premise database as well as data on the cloud. Next is actually what we call natural query language, okay? You may see, for example, I'm sure there are a lot of demos earlier in the keynote, but you see John in the CRM demo earlier, right? How you actually just ask questions, okay, and it just pops out like that, right? So I see the use case scenario of that is really for business users who just want to ask pinpoint specific questions, okay, and come out that, hey, you know what? I want this data at this chart, okay, as a pie chart, for example, okay? You need to open your reports. So it's pretty cool technology. All right, now, okay, that's pretty much done. Let me show you the demo. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to create something from, not necessarily from scratch, okay, but I want to show you all basically how all this technology kind of play out. Let me just do a duplicate screen first. Okay, cool. All right, now, the end result, okay, I think you've seen this, right? Okay, it's not going to be exactly like that, okay, but what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how an existing report, I'm going to create, okay. You just need to reload it, really. I've been talking too long. Okay, now, you end up being like this, okay? So the end goal is something like this, okay, with my own data set, okay? Now, I have a popular data set. It's usually for, I call it, it's a bank data set, okay? I call it Kampong Bank, okay? Copyrighted, by the way, okay? Now, so you can see that this is what we call a power view, okay? And typically what you want to do when you want to add in data, okay? You can see over here, right? Let me just zoom in. Sorry for the black screen there, but I guess that's how it works. I'm zooming in just to see you. This is basically where you actually drag and drop all your fields that you want, okay? But what I want to show you is actually the back end. Okay, let me open. You can see I click on this thing called Power Pivot, and then on the left side it's called Manage, right over here, okay? I'm going to click on it, and it will open up a very familiar screen, right? It's like a spreadsheet, okay? Right? You can see there's some data over here, okay? Now, I'm going to show you the diagram view, okay? So there's this diagram view. So this is where the diagram view is, okay? Now again, this is really all in Excel, but just another screen when I click on it, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a hierarchy, okay? Anyone know hierarchy, right? Popular hierarchies like your product hierarchy, okay? Your date hierarchy. So I have this date table, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a simple hierarchy, okay? Popular one. We call it a calendar hierarchy. Okay? So all I need to do is just type in calendar. Okay? And as long as there's a relationship within your table, okay, of your date table, okay, all you need to do is actually just create, drag, and drop. Okay? Just some demo to see how things really work behind the scenes, all right, of all the reports that you see in the new Excel. Okay? Drag in. Just put in the month. Okay, so it actually creates a hierarchy by year, by quarter, by month, right? Now, of course, I'm going to just minimize this again. There's this button over here. Now, I'm going to go back to my Excel report, and you can see that, yeah, it's not an error, don't worry, okay? You can see that, oh, you know what? It tells me that the data model has changed, okay? Because he knows that I did something, all right? Now, I'm going to click OK. Right, and then I'm going to go to my date. It's a little bit small. Apologize for that, but you can see that there's actually the calendar hierarchy. Okay, because I just created a calendar hierarchy. Right. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to bring in some data. Okay, usually we call it the fact data, where all your KPIs are or measures are. Okay, I'm going to bring in basically any data set. Okay, with numbers usually. I'm going to make it into a pie chart, for example. Okay, very quickly, I just create a pie chart, and I can bring in my calendar hierarchy, right? So you can see that I just drag and drop. Let me just zoom it in a little bit. Okay, I just pretty much just drag the calendar over to the color. As expected, especially if you are you're a pivot table user in Excel. Okay. Now, once I drop it, you can see that it pretty much just kind of read it as a part of a slice and dice. Okay. Now, you can see, like, for example, as expected again, right? I mean, when you click on the pie chart, you expect that it links to all your tables. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you some visualization, right? I click, control click, right? So you can see how it actually links to it. And of course, you can see that if I were to select the year of 2008, for example, or you can see that the auto finance margin, okay, this is the KPI they are created, it becomes yellow, for example. Really depends on the date and month. Okay. Now, that is one part of it. Now let me go back to the Power Pivot table. Okay. Now where do I create all these? Maybe the next question will ask that can I create my own formulas, things like that, right? Obviously you can. Okay. Now if you were to look at the data, you can see that I pre-created for a lot of my demos. Okay. Some formulas. Okay. You can see that the sum of income, very simple over here, right? And you can see that this is the formula. Oops. Let me just zoom in here. This is the formula. Okay. Now the KPI I just created, the margin percentage, this formula, right? You can see that it's actually over here, right? So you can actually set up your KPI accordingly. Just let me show you the KPI setting, right? So basically, as long as my income is above 70%, it goes yellow or green. Okay, below 70%, it goes to red. Okay, you can select some symbols, what color that you like, right? Things like that. So I pretty much set that up, and that's where I actually input the data over here. All right. Now, the next thing is, of course, I'd like to show you, for those who have not seen it, it's actually the scatter chart, right? The scatter chart. Now, I like this chart because the bubbles can move. That's why I like it. Okay. But not only that, because it actually shows 3 KPIs. One is the x-axis, and the y-axis, as well as the size of the bubble. Okay. So, like for example, you can see that my mortgage. Okay. Now, my mortgage tells me, for example, the trending of it. Okay, from 2004 to 2011. Okay, I can maybe want to compare. Let me just pick credit card, okay, mortgage, auto finance, right? So that you can see the trending. Okay, you can see that this year my mortgage loan amount for my business actually drops, for example. Okay, so simple analysis you can do, right? You can compare it. Of course, you put by 2 charts, you can actually see, right? Probably because the base lending rate drops, so mortgage went up. Example. Okay. Sorry, I'm not a banker. I'm sure you all have better KPIs. Okay. But I think you kind of get the idea, right? So these are kind of visualizations that you can actually do right now in Excel. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to show you how we actually pull data from the internet. Okay. So there's actually this new feature in Excel. Microsoft we call it Power Query. Okay. Now, it's all built in Excel. You can see that within Power Query itself, you can actually pull data from many, many different sources. For example, if I click on database, you can see it pulls from SQL Server, of course, right? Oracle database, IBM DB2, MySQL Progress, Sybase Teradata. Okay, these are some of the connectors that's built in to Excel right now. Okay, you can pull from Azure, of course. You all know Azure, right? Our cloud solution. Okay, SQL Server and everything all can be Azure right now. Okay, other sources as well. Let me just show you some sources. Active Directory, ODataFeed is popular. SAP Business Object Universe, right? If your organization is using that, you can actually pull that from their semantic layer as well, right? Okay, Facebook. You can actually pull it from Facebook. Okay, pretty cool. I would like to show you a demo on Facebook, but then it will be my own personal page, so not so nice. Okay, a bit shy. Okay, let's see all my friends. All right, now, for the demo purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull data. I'm going to search data, and I'm going to use this feature, online search. Okay, I click on it. All right, and you can see I actually search something already. All right, but never mind. Let me search like maybe Malaysia GDP by state. Let's see. Which state people earn the most money in Malaysia? Which state you think people is the richest state in Malaysia? Oh, sorry, this one don't get prize because it's too easy. Okay, too easy. Okay, now when I search it, right, what happens is that you can see that there's this pop-up that appears. Okay, again, I never leave my Excel sheet at all, right? I just click on it, right? And then you can see that, okay, I will probably select, choose this, the easiest one, okay? Yeah, click on edit, right? Now, when I did a search, when I did the edit, it has not bring the data in yet, okay? Because what it wants you to do, you can see a new screen comes out, okay? Right, this is a new screen. For you to manipulate your data first, clean your data first, okay? So to speak, right? Before you actually bring it into Excel, okay? So you can see there's this screen, and then I can say that, hey, you know what? I only want to have 2 columns, for example. So I say, oh, okay, I'm going to remove these columns. Okay? Simple demo, right? But again, let me just show you, zoom in a little bit. A lot of transformations that you can do. Okay? Oh, sorry, let me click this. More cool. Okay? Trim, split column, some trigonometry. Right? Lots of stuff actually. You can even add columns and do things like that. Okay? Now, once you do that, I would say close the data, all right, and load it. Okay, you can see I zoom in. You can either create it directly into a spreadsheet, all right, or you can actually just add it straight into your model that I created. Okay, so I'm just going to say, you know what? Let's put it into my model. Okay, so what it's doing on the right side of the screen is actually like querying the information that I'm grabbing from the internet. Okay, now I have the data in. Now if I were to look at the, okay, let's look at here first. Okay, you can see there's this new field called gross state product per capital, right? So that is actually the data that I brought in. Okay, now where does it reside? Okay, as you all can guess, if you are following me, you can see that it's actually dropped into, I go back to that window, drops into here. Okay, because I actually pulled the data in already. Okay, now I can also, of course, connect the data together. Okay, now this data set I brought in is pretty clean. Okay, so it's actually very easy for me to just connect to it. Okay, so I just drag and connect it to my state table. Okay, so the relationship is already created. Right, all I need to do is drag and drop. Okay, now if you were to click on the line, you can see there's actually, if you're a bit technical, you can see which is the lookup table and all those things, right? Just like a database. Now, let me minimize this. Again, it says that I bring in some new data. I am going to create a new report. Okay, now I'm going to remove my title. Just going to delete this. And I'm going to bring in my state as well as the GP. So this is actually the data that I grabbed from the Wikipedia straight away. Okay? And then I click on map. Okay? Now I have the map. Not so colorful. Let me make it more colorful because it looks good, right? Just go here, states. All right, there you go. Okay? A little bit more colorful. A lot of people ask me what kind of labeling you can do. You definitely can do some labeling and some design. You can see there's this map background right over here. Of course, the popular one is probably the road map background. So I click on this. Okay. You can put in data labels as well, right? But sometimes I say, remember I mentioned about visualization. It can be very cluttered sometimes. So you really need to understand which really makes sense, right? Doesn't mean more views, more colors are better. Okay. So let me just remove that. Now, let me just show you another thing. I'm going to bring in a state, and then, okay, I'm just going to bring some KPIs, okay, all right, and I'm going to just create a column chart. There you go. Arrange a little bit, okay, and then if you realize, if I were to click on Kuala Lumpur, you can see the purple color bubble Kuala Lumpur is highlighted. Okay, if I click on Johor or Labuan, okay, you can see Sabah. Okay. Now, of course, why it works is because I join the tables together. Okay, and then that's why there's a relationship in the tables. Okay, just to show you a little bit of how relationship happens right now in the new Excel Power Pivot. All right. Now, I'm going to save this. Let me see. I will show you another demo on Power Query. Sometimes, right, you want to pull data straight from the web page itself, right? Right? You want to just pull data straight from the web page. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how you can actually do that. Okay, with the Excel Power Query. Okay. You can see there's this function called from web. Okay, now when I click from it, you can see that this is a URL. Okay, now all you need to do really is to enter the URL that you want. Okay, so let me show you another demo. How this is actually done. Okay, let me go to my Internet Explorer. Okay, all right, I'm going to search, because it's the bank data, base lending rate, Malaysia, history. Okay, again, let's just pick this site. Okay, so I'm going to pull some data from this site. Okay, for example, right? Disclaimer, Microsoft not related to brl.my. Okay, just for demo purpose. Okay, it's a pretty good site though. Okay, for demo. So I'm just going to copy the data from this web page. Okay, and you click on it. Right, and what it's going to do is how it works. Right, you just put it in here, and it has actually the technology to look through the web page. Okay, and it tells you like, oh, you know what? It comes out in a table format. Okay, of course, you know, a web page can be very messy, right? Okay, but at least it tries to organize things accordingly for you. Like for example, I go to table, okay, like table 2. Oh, you know what? Okay, it has my data there. Base lending rate is over there. Okay, now again, let's clean my data first before I bring it in. Okay, again, I have a lot of columns, but these are all the data that I do not want. So I just say click column 1, column 2, remove columns, right? Because I do not need this data. Okay, then I can click column 5, column 6, I do not need this column. Okay, so just simply just remove data. Right, now, I can also use use first row as header, right? Because this is actually a column header, so I just change it to name. And I can also, of course, do things such as change the data type. Now, where's the button? Okay, over here. Data type, decimal number, change it, right? And say close and load to the model. Okay, and of course, it's named table 2, but as expected, you can actually name your table anything. You can name it as a new base lending rate data. Okay, right? And then of course, I can, let's just finish this up. Put this thing in, drag, drag, and drop, and then create a line chart. Okay, now let's just save this. Okay, so I have pretty much did some modification to my report. Okay, now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take that report, I'm going to publish into the Power BI site. Okay, now how do I do that? Let's go to the Power BI site. Okay, you can see there's this button called Get Data. Okay, now when I click on Get Data, you'll realize that, again, it's a public preview, but it has quite a number of new data sources. Microsoft CRM, Salesforce, okay, popular one for the geeky people, GitHub, for example, right? Analysis services, of course. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect. Okay, let me browse that. I think this is the one that I just created. Open it and say, okay, I'm going to connect. Okay, so I'm actually uploading that file straight into my Power BI site. Okay, now it's importing the data. Oh, it's already up. All right. You can realize that on the left side, right, you can see there's a KB demo 1. That's the file that I just created, right? The KB is my backup just in case something goes wrong. Okay. Now, I click on report. Okay. And again, this is really in a browser, right? It's a browser, right? It's no longer in Excel, although it's underlying is Excel. Okay. All right. So now you can click on this. You realize that I actually can edit my report straight within the browser itself. Okay. So, like for example, this is a column chart, a clustered column chart. When I click on this, I say that, hey, you know what? I want a combo chart stack. Nice name. Okay. Change. Cool, huh? All right. Now, of course, I'm going to put in some data. Let me just let's see. Where are all my KPIs? Oh, there you go. Okay. Put into. You can even drag and drop. Straight away edit. Right from the browser itself. Okay? These are some of the new capabilities you can do. Okay? Editing your charts in the browser itself. Let me just show you another one. I'm going to take this and just go and click. Oh, maybe I have this thing called, some call it a heat map, right? Microsoft call it a tree map or something like that. Let me just see. what's it called? Tree map. They call it a tree map, right? Okay, so these are some visualizations I want to show you all. Okay, again, of course, the filtering works as expected, right in the browser itself as well. Okay, let me just go to, okay, let me just come to here. Right, now, if you have a chart, a column chart that has the same x-axis, okay, like for example, you can see these two. Now, the reason I put these two charts is because I want to show you how you can actually use these two charts and you can actually combine it together to get a different kind of visualization, okay? Now, if you have a chart that says that year as x-axis, all the same, but you have a different KPI, right? A different data point, okay, based on year. You can actually just drag and drop. You can just combine the data together, okay? And it makes sense to actually turn it into a scatter chart, okay? Because scatter chart has a y and an x-axis, okay? So it actually plots it accordingly for you, okay? And the year, okay? Can just combine these two charts together. Now, of course, again, I can actually just modify the data that I want. Again, remember, the scatter chart can support 3 KPIs, right? The other one is the size of the bubble. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to drag this, maybe a non-performing loan amount, into here, okay, and turn it into a scatter chart, just like that, okay? So these are some of the possibilities right now that you actually can do with Excel together with Power BI on the cloud, all right? Now, remember that dashboard view that I want to do, okay? Now, let me just save this report first. Okay. If I were to go back here, let's click on this. You can see that, oh, it's right now empty. Nothing. Oh, so how? Okay, so we need to just add that report in. Okay. If we were to go to here, there's nothing here. So I'm just going to remove that. And I just need to go back. All I need to do is I can just go back to my report that I just created, right? Called KB Demo 1. Okay. Now, when I go back to the report, I go to here, I can see there's this thing called pin to your dashboard, sorry, okay? So I pin this, whatever, just pin. Let's just select some stuff to pin. I'll select the colorful ones, okay? All right, now if I were to go back, you can see that the charts are all, okay, arranged here accordingly. But of course, you may not want it to be all like vertically, right? So you can of course just drag, okay, put it up here, drag, put it here. You can actually just make this into bigger, okay? Arrange accordingly. Just to show you how easy and how powerful it is, just drag and drop charts nowadays straight in the browser itself, okay? All right. So basically what I just did is, just to recap, 2 minutes left. I definitely want to save some time for Q&A again. Okay, because I want to give prizes. I love giving prizes. Right. Just to recap, right? BI at your fingertips, of course, at the end of the day, once your data is extracted from all the sources, all the integration is done, okay? You can use Excel to actually, how I did it, connect to the source, okay? Grab millions of rows of data right now, okay? Do manipulation to it, create visualizations on it, and at the end of the day, you can actually just share it out as your own personalized dashboard, okay? Or even to other people as well, all right? Now, that pretty much ends my presentation, okay? The final thing I want to say is that at the end of the day, I think Microsoft offers you an end-to-end solution, okay? All the way from the database to the integration to the visualization, okay, as a report. And oh, finally, it's really only 2 products, okay? SQL Server and Office 365, okay, it's Excel. Only 2 products to really get your end-to-end BI capability in your organization, all right? Okay, before I end, 52 seconds, the screen showed me. Question, which product in Microsoft, got answer here or not? Okay. Okay, show his one. Okay, which product in Microsoft you can use to integrate to many sources at the back end? Which product? Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. All right. SQL Server, yes. Thank you, sir. Okay, with that said, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, hopefully I'll be seeing you all again. All right, thank you.